Welcome to the Big Ten's greatest games. Kentucky at Indiana, December 18th, 1990.
Assembly Hall in Bloomington, Indiana, filled to capacity tonight. And let's take a look at the starting lineups in this one tonight. First of all, for number 18 ranked Kentucky. Keep an eye on number 11, Sean Woods. It's terribly important to him because he is the only Indiana native that starts on this Kentucky basketball team. And of course, the head coach at age 38, Rick Pitino, in his second season as the head man with the Wildcats. For Bobby Knight and his Indiana Hoosiers, this is the way they will start this evening. Number 23, Jamal Meeks, one of Bobby Knight's favorites, as he has really come on, particularly not only in a playing role, but in a leadership role. And at the helm in his 20th season, the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers, Bobby Knight.
I'll tell you one thing, it's kind of a sad day in a way for Bobby Knight with the loss and the passing of Ralph Floyd, one of the great athletic directors in the Big Ten. They had a beautiful service for him yesterday, Ron, a special guy. He had tremendous warmth, and what made him so special, according to Bobby Knight, is that the fact that he was such a special fan of Indiana basketball, Indiana football. He was IU's biggest fan. We're going to miss Ralph Floyd, a warm, lovable person.
This community, the university, and the athletic department lost truly a friend.
No secret man-to-man pressure defense by Indiana.
Hansen on the outside, working against Nover. That'll be a good matchup physically as they move top to bottom, but particularly when they take it inside, as Mashburn almost loses the ball. Pelfrey strong to the hoop and a foul inside. And it looks as though that Pelfrey has picked up the charge.
Indiana does an amazing job of rotating defensively. That's a trademark of Indiana basketball in picking up the charge. But really surprised me there, nobody came over quick enough to stop his penetration.
Herb Sundick told his ball club today, he said Damon Bailey is excellent at picking up or taking the charge. Be careful of it. Anderson from the outside won't go.
Indiana's going to have to make the perimeter shot, Ron. Kentucky show and zone. They've been playing 90% man-to-man and trapping defenses, but they're going to zone Indiana to negate the motion game.
Hansen trying to dribble inside, and a whistle and a foul on the play. It looks like Nover has picked up the first violation against the Hoosiers.
Nover's an athlete. He's a great jumper. He high jumped 6'10" in high school. He doesn't have a whole lot of basketball instincts.
He's also put on some weight, as best I remember, since coming here as a freshman. He's 15 to 20 pounds heavier.
Oh, great baseline drive, but a good defensive reaction by Nova.
Hansen kind of hung the ball on the bottom of the rim and couldn't put it back over the top.
There's a key guy in this team, number 23 with a rock right now. Meeks, not a good scorer, but an excellent penetrator. He can shoot it.
Calbert Cheney off the mark on his first shot. Woods going the opposite direction, knocks down the jumper, and we finally got somebody on the scoreboard.
He's got a lot of strength in his body at 6'3". There they are in a 2-3 zone trying to match up. They like to bump down and make sure they line with somebody. Indiana usually gets a lot of ball movement against the zone and tries to get into gaps in the seams. See, there's a gap right there. There's the seam. Bingo.
Two-point attempt, had it gone, and look at Damon Bailey getting the garbage underneath.
Not a great leaper, but he's always in the right place. He's really starting to come of age now as a player, starting to think a little bit more offensively. Nothing fancy defensively. Pressure the ball, deny, beat cutters to the ball.
Offensive foul was called, and now the officials come between Woods and Jamal Meeks. Meeks looks at him with a smile on his face. Woods wasn't smiling at the time, though.
Kentucky's going to rotate into their trap now from the baseline. They put Mashburn, the monster mash, on the baseline. Now he's looking to take him to a trapping area. There it comes. And Bailey just splits the trap. Good look.
Anderson will go to the line for a couple.
Ron, Indiana always tries to place their people when trying to finalize in transition in a triangle concept.
I beg your pardon. He has called an offensive foul, and Bobby Knight just came jettisoning out of his seat.
Excellent call, no doubt about it. He blows by the first defensive player, but he definitely makes penetration. And he definitely makes contact with that penetration. Good call by the official as Kentucky laying all those screens. Both teams like to screen a lot. Means you got to communicate defensively to get over the top of screens.
House inside, has the ball rejected by Anderson. Mashburn well off the mark, and a foul inside, and Hansen has been whistled for the violation. And now Rick Pitino is up and angry.
What makes this team really special, this Indiana team, as we look at Anderson, is the fact that they really help them play solid team defense. Indiana's defense has really come alive this season as opposed to the past. When we talked about Indiana the last few years, they haven't played typical Indiana pressure defense.
Tied at 2, and we have played 2.5 minutes, both ball clubs. You can't really say feeling each other out there. Banging it out here. Been very physical. Very tight nose-to-nose defense.
As the rotation into the 2-3 zone. Should have some shots on the wings right there.
Bailey for 3. Anderson battles against Woods. Kentucky comes up with the ball. 1-on-2 with Pelfrey. Takes it strong to the hoop and gets it.
He's been a solid player. He's missed the basketball coming out of high school. Sat his first year out. That was the year Kentucky was 27-6 under Eddie Sutton. Rex Chapman hit Davender.
Anderson is Indiana having a little unfortunate break on the rim so far.
Not shooting really well all year long. They're shooting better than 56%.
Pelfrey misses on the 3. Rick Pitino said it today at the shoot-around. He would like to see him take 25 to 35 three-pointers. Doesn't think they're shooting them enough.
They're shooting about 18 to 20 a game. He wants to, as you said, he told us he wants to increase that number. See, the wings are wide open. If you reverse the ball, Bailey's got a shot. Oh, Bailey passed it up.
Albert Chaney
made the excellent pass, though. The one extra pass got Chaney free on that baseline due to an overload. So here's the man-to-man defense. And Meek switching. Indiana switching up on top. They really worked yesterday on trying to defend all the cuts by Kentucky.
Mashburn has the ball taken away as he tried to drive a Nover.
Indiana's tempered right now. They're really making it a 5-on-5 game.
Anderson and Pelfrey on the floor, looking with his palms up, saying why.
Anderson trying to drive the seam of the zone. Pelfrey, as we look at Pelfrey, Mr. Basketball, as I said, in Kentucky. See, now driving the seam. Now go right into the gap of the zone. Mike Krzyzewski's teams do this exceptionally well.
I think Anderson's lucky not to have picked up a foul, though, because he was totally out of control driving into the lane, Dick.
He hasn't really scored. He hasn't been really scoring the last few games, but he's been doing a solid job rebounding. Bobby Knight told me yesterday that Anderson's work ethic has improved immensely.
Second foul on Pelfrey. 15:54 left in this opening half. Indiana 6-4.
Sean Woods. See, now watch the triangle. Watch the triangle. There it is.
You're watching the Big Ten Network.
Welcome back to the Big Ten's greatest games. Kentucky at Indiana, December 18th, 1990.
Overloading the zone. They right now, as you see, Kentucky 3.5 passes, and so Indiana likes to make 4 passes with each possession. They feel they can break the defense down.
Ball is almost stolen into the backcourt, and that is going to be turnover. Hoosiers will get it back. IU shooting 25% and Kentucky 29%. 2 for 8 and 2 for 7, respectively.
One great ingredient about Indiana basketball during the Knight era has been shot selection and also solid team defense. And if you take good shots, you always have a chance to win. They've been taking good shots.
Travel against Damon Bailey. And we watched him up at the Olympic Festival this summer along with Pat Graham, who was also there from Indiana. And the youngster put on a clinic with the bounce pass, and the maturity factor, I think he's going to come of age very quickly, don't you?
Oh, I definitely feel he's going to be a solid college player. They ran an isolation for him to try to get him a clear out. He definitely lifted his pivot foot.
Meeks battles for it, has to get it back before midcourt, and does.
They rotate into a man-to-man right now. Kentucky. Anderson with a good shape up. He spots up into the 3-second area, catches the ball at the foul lane, and delivers the jumper.
Eric Anderson, one of the leaders on this Indiana basketball team, probably more by example rather than by voice.
Indiana really jumping out on those screens.
Kentucky with 5 turnovers.
Great execution right there on the drive down the lane, created by a good screen for Sean Woods. See, now watch the triangle. Watch the triangle. There it is. There's the Indiana triangle, and attacking pressure and finalizing. The ball at the foul lane, and 2 guys go into the boxes.
10-6, Indiana on top as we're about to hit 14 minutes until halftime.
They worked on that yesterday, attacking the trapping defense of Kentucky with the purpose of trying to score against the trap.
Bellhouse had a great game last year against Indiana. Jump ball. And the possession area goes with Indiana.
Now watch the triangle. Bailey at the top, and he has 2 options. He could dump it to Anderson. He says, you know, I like you, Eric. You took me out for dinner the other day. I don't like you, Nova. I'm going to Mr. Anderson. See, look at this split in the trap. That's the triangle. 2 guys on the boxes. Thank you.
Anderson has it stripped by the quick hands of Woods.
I think it's important when a team traps and they try to get on the basketball with 2 people that you split that trap and you try to score against the defensive pressure.
Jeff Brasso, the sophomore out of Houston. Alif Elsik comes in, replacing John Pelfrey.
Brasso's been starting all year long, but last year he was a guy that came off the bench and gave him some offense as we watched the turnover from the baseline. I asked him tonight, how do you feel coming off the bench? And he said, it doesn't matter. As long as I play and as long as I can help the team win, that's all that matters to me.
Jeff is 6'5", 193 pounds. He's a sophomore.
Both these teams so well coached, so drilled. There's the 3.
Hansen for 3, and as we mentioned, Rick Pitino wants to see more of those taken. Indiana a little out of control on the fast break that time.
Jamal Meeks has a tendency to try to make the spectacular play, but he's been playing brilliantly for Bobby Knight. His turnover and assist ratio has been really impressive. He's had like 4 assists to every turnover.
Looks like Hansen has just picked up his 3rd foul.
That's a silly foul for the experienced player. We talked on the top of the show how important it is for Hansen to stay out of foul trouble. He got in foul trouble against North Carolina, and it really hurt Kentucky. He picks up 3, 50 feet away from the goal. Not a heady play by Reggie Hansen. Not a heady play. Fouling in the backcourt. That's a big loss right now for Kentucky in terms of experience.
Jamal Martinez, a freshman out of Miami, Florida, at 6'8", 206, comes into the lineup replacing him.
He's a good shooter. He's got a good future, just not physically strong enough and doesn't have the stamina on the big-time level, according to the Kentucky people, as of this moment.
Bailey with a bounce pass inside, and the lefty's turnaround jumper won't go.
See Indiana trying to match up on the wings, knowing that they want to shoot that 3.
Brasso.
See, that's a no-no. Right there in the scouting report, Bailey's got to know that Brasso's a good perimeter shooter, and he's got to get in his face.
Anderson late with the bounce pass, and Mashburn comes away with it for Kentucky.
That's the scrappy, hustling traps of him. See, right now, they're not matching up on the wings, allowing him to shoot that 3.
Don Rutledge has called a foul on Mashburn.
You know what's impressive with Kentucky's press? There's a walk-in violation there. You can't move along that baseline.
No basket was scored.
That's just a mental lapse right there on the baseline by Jamal Meeks. Knight certainly can't be happy with that. He stresses all the little details about the game. He'd like to see the perfect game. Get it ahead to him. He's an excellent driver. Scored over 3,000 points in high school. 3,124, the all-time leader in high school basketball.
4 points for Bailey right now. We're tied at 12.
So you got to swing the ball to break the defense down. Swing it side to side.
Sean Woods, nice move to the hoop. Had to go over the top of number 24, Matt Nover, and did.
He's an explosive driver. Had a big game. The pressure right now is starting to bother Indiana. Had a big game against Kansas, Sean Woods. The one thing about Ricky Pitino's pressure, you beat the front line, and they have a tendency to recover and create the turnover as they're coming back defensively.
6 turnovers apiece, and Jamal Meeks, who is off to a little bit of a rocky start, comes to the bench. And number 21, Chris Reynolds, a sophomore from Peoria Central, comes in replacing him, number 21.
He's a slashing, driving player. Bobby Knight was telling him yesterday, play to your strengths, and that's your driving game. And he's a tough defensive player.
Mashburn gets a breather. Pelfrey back in the lineup for Kentucky. Feldhaus stripped to the ball, and travel will be called.
It is so difficult to get the high percentage shot against both defenses as both teams really execute defensively.
Indiana by 2.
Southpaw had a bad year last year. Nice pass by Jones. That was a great pass.
You're watching the Big Ten Network.
You're watching the Big Ten's greatest games.
Right now, it looks like Ohio State, Indiana are really a step above everyone else, and Michigan State right below those two, because I think Michigan State's a little one-dimensional. Too Steve Smith oriented.
Indiana 18-14.
Look at the pressure on the basketball. 3 phases to Indiana basketball. Pressure the ball, deny it, and beat the cutter to the basketball. See right there, trying to beat the cutter to the ball.
Chris Reynolds almost with a steal. Keep an eye on number 20, Greg Graham. He has injured an ankle. And I'm not sure he's at 100% just yet. Is Mashburn inside, and he may be called for a push.
I thought the Monster Mash was using his left hand to get away with a little push, Ron, but they get the foul, not on Mashburn. I think they get it on Anderson.
Yep, they do.
The one thing
Nover call for the foul. It's going to be his second.
The one thing that's tough to do against Indiana right now, against Kentucky, is to give a lot of help when they drive, because if you give help, they're going to have the wide open 3-point shot. See, if you drive the seam, right now, if he drives the gap, he can find somebody if they give help. Indiana likes to give a lot of help. Woods can penetrate. See, they play without a post man, keeping the lane open.
Plenty of time on the shot clock, and Mashburn doesn't even come close on that jumper.
He seems very tentative today. This guy can shoot the ball. If he can get his shot off, it's a walking violation.
Katz's situation where he was a long-range gunner coming out of high school has been a little bit inconsistent. And in fact, somebody told me today here that Pete Newell had been in a couple of weeks ago and had worked with him on his shooting and on his steps.
Pete Newell played a big role in the hiring of Bobby Knight here at Indiana. Bobby said Bill Orlick, he called him up. He said he didn't call me, and then Pete Newell put a great word in for me to get this job 20 years ago.
About to hit the 9-minute mark, Pelfrey.
Really sloppy right now. Indiana really not executing in terms of coming with the possession of the ball, getting into transition. He was ejected. Knight was ejected on Saturday. He said he didn't feel like even coaching as we look at the turnovers. 9 for Kentucky, 7 for Indiana. That was, he said he got word of Ralph Floyd's passing 10 minutes before the game.
Pelfrey for 3.
He's a solid rebounder. He's the best rebounder in the field house right now.
Eric Anderson, who averages almost 8 per ball game, gets it. Bailey sets to check back in.
Both these teams use the ball fake and the head fake exceptionally well. And it's no accident. They drill on it every day in practice. Look at Mashburn's got a new haircut. The Monster Mash has got a new haircut. It looks like mine.
Lyndon Jones comes in the lineup. He is the lone senior on this Indiana ball club. Also, Davis comes in, and Mashburn will get a breather for the Wildcats.
Lyndon Jones really got a feel for him in terms of the fact that this kid came out so highly acclaimed out of high school, played well as a freshman and as a sophomore, had a bad year last year. Nice pass by Jones. That was a great pass. Greg Graham with the cut to the basket. But what an excellent look by Lyndon Jones.
Greg Graham, as we told you, is the injured ankle. He averages just over 10 points a ball game, and it's now the biggest lead of the evening for the Hoosiers at 20-14. Pelfrey And he'll go to the line. It looks like Calbert Cheney.
Personal foul.
Lyndon Jones makes the great bounce pass. Look at the lead. He places it perfectly into the offensive player's hands. He keeps the defensive player away from the deflection. What a great look. I really believe that Lyndon Jones will be a key player for Indiana during the course of this season. He's too experienced and he's too talented.
John Pelfrey at the line. John, 91% free throw shooter.
He's got an excellent touch. He told me yesterday at practice, no doubt about it, Coach, I was fouled against North Carolina in that last minute. That was a heartbreaking loss. They totally outplayed the Tar Heels in that game. And Dean echoed those same comments.
He sure did after the ball game.
He said, we were so lucky to get out of here with this W. Got an excellent touch, great rotation, excellent follow through. There's their traps. They have a number of traps they run. Now he's trying to take them to a trapping area. See how you trying to spread against the trap. Going to post Anderson.
Jones against Woods. Turnover against the Hoosiers. Good defense again. Let's take a timeout. 7:56 left in this first half. It's Indiana 20 and Kentucky 16. See if the youngster gets it to go. Jump hook is not there. Feldhaus, tough inside.
Welcome back to the Big Ten's greatest games. Kentucky at Indiana, December 18th, 1990.
Herb Sendick right there, the assistant coach, charts every possession. He evaluates everything going on the floor, everything that they execute, and he wants to know, Pitino, how many scores are we getting on our down screen? How many scores on our back screen? And then they also chart all their defensive tendencies. They even chart deflections, and he got that from UB Brown when he worked with him with the New York Knickerbockers, who was a great believer in that. In fact, Pitino used to chart for Brown.
Lyndon Jones picks up the foul.
There's a look at Herb Sendick. You know what? Rick was telling me today, I discovered him at the 5-star camp. He had a 4.0 average in high school at Penn Hills. He then went to Carnegie Mellon and he had a 4.0 average. And he's a brilliant mind. And I was so impressed with him giving a scouting report on Indiana.
Pelfrey, boy, he had Bailey all over him. Still got it away and knocks it down.
He earned that deuce, baby.
6 points for him now.
See, right now they're playing the two guards, the 2 point guards together, Meeks and Jones. 3-guard offense, really, with Bailey on the floor as well. Man-to-man defense right now by Kentucky.
Back to Meeks. 3 if it goes. Hard off the iron, but Jones on the foul.
Lyndon Jones with the offensive rebound. The strategy for Kentucky is to allow Meeks to shoot the ball. Same game plan they had against North Carolina with King Rice.
4-point game. We've just gone under 7 to play till halftime.
See, right now, very difficult if you play for Indiana to give a lot of help with the kind of perimeter shooters that Kentucky has.
Anderson looks as though has been called for the reach-in.
Mashburn's got to pick up his game a little bit. He's got to raise it an extra level right now on the road.
Second foul on Anderson. Well, we mentioned off the top of the telecast, he and Bailey this time last year were playing high school basketball. And, you know, when you go from arenas like playing against the Tar Heels last week and here at Assembly Hall, you're not talking about small gymnasiums like he might have been accustomed to.
I'll tell you, Ron, that's the way to grow up as an athlete, though. You grow up as a player, and the special ones do it immediately. When you talk about the Isaiah Thomases, the Michael Jordans, the guys like Magic Johnson, from day one, I mean, they lace them up, and they come in and they prove they can play with all the hype and all the notoriety. And the great thing about great athletes, they can handle all the adulation. And to me, you know, we talk so much that the media really hypes these players. We don't hype them. I mean, if Damon Bailey has 3,100 points, he does the job. Those facts can't lie. He gets publicity. And then it's up to him to perform and to back those up.
Feldhaus.
They're cleared out. They tried to run a clear out in isolation for Bailey.
Feldhaus picks up his first foul, and that is the 10th team foul against the Wildcats. 6:30 left until halftime.
You know, it's so frustrating if you're a point guard playing against a Kentucky, because with all their multiple sets, it makes it very difficult for you to constantly be trying to think and create and innovate what to do against their traps.
You know, talking about guys like Mashburn and also the young fellow that's at the line right now. Seen Bailey at the Olympic Festival this summer. He wanted the basketball in the crucial situations. Last week at North Carolina, Mashburn wanted the ball late in the contest.
Bailey made a believer out of Dale Brown down there. Played brilliantly for the North team against the South. Brown's team won the gold medal. See the pressure on the basketball? They really try to lock up on the basketball.
Cheney working against Mashburn, and he is. He's giving him some headaches. See if the youngster gets it to go. Jump hook is not there. Feldhaus, tough inside.
That's a real tough offensive rebound. Feldhaus had 23 last year in a matchup against Indiana.
Bailey may have gotten away with a drop of the shoulder there against Farmer.
Indiana running their motion game. Graham with that little cut inside.
Cheney gets a double look. Anderson on the follow.
That's a foul on Anderson, I believe, climbing it back. No, they get it on a Kentucky player. No, they did get it on
Cheney.
Oh, they call it on
It's
Cheney.
his second, yeah.
Could have called it on Anderson as well. Talbot really didn't receive the kind of publicity as the other guys did coming out of high school and that great recruiting class that they had 2 years ago with Chris Lawson and Pat Graham and Greg Graham. They had Lawrence Funderburk.
Yeah, been a lot of conversation about him the last couple days.
Funderburk was brilliant in that game last year. He had 16 points and 10 rebounds at the Hoosier Dome and sparked Indiana to that 2-point win. My feeling is he will transfer to Louisville. See, there's good ball reversal. 4 passes. And Knight feels you can break, Coach Knight feels you can break down the defense if you can swing it side to side.
Cheney, not there, but the follow. No, but he boxed out, and they miss on the previous. Greg Graham was right there. Kentucky can tie it on this trip. In fact, they can go in front. If this one is there, and it is for Farmer.
And that was created by the help defense and a penetration by Woods. Great save. Excellent save. Tremendous play. That's awesome, baby. That's a great athletic move, and I love it here in Hoosier land. But it was created by Bailey, hanging in the air.
Bailey missed the easy layup and then came back with a very heady play, as Dick said, and they got a possibility of getting 3 out of it.
Greg Graham did an amazing job to make the catch there and to convert and get that score. Bailey now with the drive to the goal. Woods takes away his angle. Now look at the hustle. And watch the awareness. He knows it's under his basket, so he can take a chance. It's under his goal. That is a heady play. And there's the catch and the score by Graham, who's a slashing quick player.
And of course, with Graham right there, Rick Pitino was up saying, why didn't somebody put a backside on him? He just let him stand there unattended in front of the hoop.
Hey, Rick Pitino, big fan of Damon Bailey, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah, he had some great things to say about him. As Martinez puts up an air ball from 6 feet away.
He told us today, he said he's not going to be a good player in college. He's going to be an outstanding player. You look at him over a 4-year period in the development process.
Chris Lawson back in the game.
Oh, he can make that open shot. You can't let him shoot the ball. He's velvet. He's got great touch.
Pat Graham now with 6 points.
He's the all-time leader in terms of free throws consecutively, 38 in a row. Graham had 38 in a row on a free throw line this year before breaking it. That's a record here in Indiana.
His first personal and the team's 9.
That's the first personal foul against Graham. Greg Graham. And it's the 19th foul.
1 plus the bonus for John Pelfrey, number 34.
Pelfrey's got great concentration.